Hi, welcome to the second edition of Anuga Select India webinar series, focusing on India's F&B landscape where tradition meets innovations for the global success. With this attempt, we would try to abreast our attendees with the dynamics of the fastest growing Indian market. And to help us in this effort, we have two of our experts from the Indian market. To begin with, Mr. Amit Lohani. Mr. Amit Lohani is a visionary entrepreneur and a stalwart of Indian food and beverage ecosystem. As a founder and the director of Forum for Indian Food Importers, he champions the interest of the F&B importing community, representing a vast network of over 1550 esteemed brands from 120 countries, collectively yielding a formidable buying power of 7.3 billion US dollar. Mr. Lohani's distinguished profile is further underscored by his membership on boards of prestigious organizations including Indo-Italian Chamber of Commerce. He also serves on the FSSAI Coordination Committee and an FMCG Committee of Ashokam, furthering solidifying his position as a key influencer of the Indian food and beverage landscape. Also with him we have Ms. Subi Mishra. With over 16 years of professional experience in esteemed position, Ms. Shubi Mishra brings a wealth of expertise to the table, having dedicated about a decade with the United States Department of Agriculture, Foreign Agricultural Services as a senior agricultural specialist. Beyond her work experience with the USDA, Shubi now serves as an independent agriculture, food and beverage advisor to numerous international clients. Shubi continues to be an articulate speaker and a contributor to various international platforms on Indian agriculture and food business. We welcome Mr. Amit Lohani and Shubi Mishra. Shubi, over to you.
Thank you so much, Samir, for this very kind and warm introduction. So to begin with, Amitji, while Samir has briefly introduced yourself, however, for the advantage of our audience and by virtue of us seeing the great work which FIFI or Forum of Indian Food Importers continue to do on ground, it will be really helpful for our audiences to know a little bit more in what all does your organization do to advance the interest of international business sector in India with the spotlight on food and drink sector.
Thank you, Shubi, and thank you, Samir. It's a great pleasure and honor to be part of this virtual mission or virtual, thing. So the idea is that the forum was started in 2008 with the objective to create a not-for-profit organization promoting international food interest in the country. We as a forum represent almost about 7,000 brands or 7,000 members across different plethora of audiences, which are from the fresh food sector, seafood, meats, dairy, processed foods, nuts, and an array of other products. The idea of the forum was also encapsulated by the fact that the government in India always is looking to find fully compliant importers, and that education was imparted to our members, making sure that the Indian importer understands how food imports have to happen in the country and can work legitimately without getting into the grey market area of buying from different traders and work with authorized official exporters from different parts of the world. The forum has been working closely with all major countries. We have about 100 plus diplomatic missions who are our members, including almost every country from the European Union, UK, Canada, US, Australia, New Zealand, and a lot of South American nations. The forum is also engaged in doing a lot of advocacy with the government, making sure that the government reduces the number of tariff and non-tariff barriers and make sure that the Indian businesses can thrive in India, whether it is from just imports or also looking at a joint venture and future collaboration by producing in India for the Indian market. Thank you, Shubhi.
Interesting. So for 15 years, you guys have been doing this and you're still doing that with a broad smile on your face, says that the food and drink landscape in India is evolving in positive direction. And this is more for the delegates who have joined us virtually. That Forum of Indian Food Importers walked the show in full strength. Last year, while I was walking the show, I have seen hundreds of their members as a part of delegation who were walking the show, and that is something which is of great interest for international exhibitors, ICMG, because for them to be able to meet with a number of importers entrepreneurs of different sectors under one roof is a huge high. And with that, we are also seeing that when we talk about food or beverage imports into India, a lot of trends are shifting. If I talk in general, if I do not put the light on, say, EU countries, and just say that, how are you seeing the current trends in food sector, and how is the food imports evolving along with this dynamic change happening in India?
I think trends are now become more versatile and more global than being just India centric. India picks up on a lot of trends which are happening on the western part from Europe and from US, and vice versa. We pick up a lot of trends from our eastern partners as well. K-food has become popular across the world, and so it has become popular in India as well. We find a lot of people consuming Korean food, and a lot of Korean restaurants are popping up. In fact, a lot of Asian restaurants have modified their menu to incorporate Korean dishes, which was earlier only mainly on the Chinese and Thai products, but now they're bringing in a lot of Korean food. Similarly, vegan is becoming big. Recently, I met someone who's producing vegan ice creams in India, vegan butter in India. Though Indians love their Amul butter, but the fact that a company is willing to invest in India to bring out unsalted and salted butter in India. President Lactalis has put up a plant in India to produce unsalted butter for the bakery industry, which was not available for the longest period of time. So we are seeing large corporations coming in India, from pasta being manufactured in India to olive oil being imported in bulk and bottled in India, from canola oil being coming into the country. So trends are moving. They're moving towards increased consumption of fresh fruits and nuts, increased consumption of the vegan and free foods, or a clean label food, which we call it. We still don't have fair trade very popular in India as of now, but we do see that consumers are having that aspiration of understanding what is in the product. They're trying to read the label. They're also talking about sustainability, though sometimes the value proposition between sustainability and price do matter. But these are factors and trends which you see globally, and they are also present in India as well.
Interesting to know that EU companies or EU ingredients, for that matter, are supporting Make in India campaign, which is a huge vision for current administration or the current government of India. So I'm sure that these progressive narratives help pave the path for more products to come into Indian market. And we have recently seen that FIFI has hosted the largest ever European Union business delegation to India, which I understand traveled both to Delhi and Mumbai, did a number of B2B meetings. There were a lot of knowledge sessions happening. We saw the government of India engaging with the delegates, and a lot of that we witnessed firsthand, and a lot of that we learned through your social media platform. So what was your perspective? What suggestions or best practices came out of that as an observation, based on which you believe that our audience base, which primarily is from European Union region right now, can benefit from?
I think that was a big step for the European Union. It was the largest delegation of European Union. More than 50 companies from the agri-food sector were there, including alcobev companies, dairy companies, a lot of grain and oil companies were also part of it, besides the processed food and the other regular products which are already available in the country. And it was led by the European Union European Union Commissioner. The fact that India is getting to be a big market for a lot of these products, it's a long-term market. You have to have your you have to have your feet on the ground. You have to understand the market. You have to understand our culture. You have to understand the diaspora which is there in India. You can cater to the foreign nationals who are living over here, working in different companies, or you're catering to the upper middle class or the middle class, which ranges from about 20 million to 100 million people. Understanding their needs, understanding what they perceive of products. All of a sudden, we see a huge coffee culture. The other day I was sitting with someone, and the concept of bullet coffee is becoming very popular in India, where you take a cup of coffee or 2 shots of espresso and add about 20 to 50 grams of desi ghee in that and drink it first thing in the morning. So you have your right amount of fat which is going in, a healthy fat which is going in. Now desi ghee is clarified butter for people who are from that region. So the market is growing. people are understanding that, and I think consumers in India are becoming more and more proactive when it comes to buying European products in the country. The availability is still quite scarce sometimes in certain parts of the country, but what we are seeing is the traction for these products is very high, and that is what we learned through the delegation as well. The only challenge I saw was that the delegation came in, they did their successful deals in the market, but that's about it. Next year, there was no delegation. So now I always believe that it is very important and pertinent for any country or region to grow its market share in India. You have to be very consistent. You look at partners like US, you look at partners like, even in the European Union, if you look at Italy, Italy brings in about 8 to 10 delegations every year to India and takes about 5 to 8 delegations to Italy for various shows, whether it is Tutu Foods, whether it is Chibus. So Italy has been understanding the value of the Indian market, and that's why when you look at food, Italian food is the third or the fourth most popular food, which is getting quite interesting for consumers in India. And when you serve Italian food is not just about pasta or pizza. There are regional foods which are becoming popular. So people want a Sicilian tomato to be served to them, or a particular variety of cheese from Grana or Parmigiano Reggiano, which they want to, but they want a vegetarian version of the product, which is tricky in India. So there is that traction. We see that consumers want these kind of products. They were bringing these products in their suitcases, but now that is available in India and they're buying those products at a very hefty price, which is great. That means that the consumers search for these kind of products is still continuing, and his aspiration plays into making them buy these products.
Yeah, we have witnessed a lot of chef activations which were simultaneously happening, both for the end consumers and more for the businesses. Probably for businesses, so at one place we were seeing that a number of FIFI members were getting together with Chef Ajay Chopra, where he was curating a few recipes using different European ingredients, and they were the highlight of the day. Number of media stories were coming out of that. So is hospitality sector becoming more of focus for European region goods, or do you think it's still a mix of both retail and hospitality for the region?
I think when you look at hospitality, it's the first entry point for any product or portfolio. It becomes much easier for a consumer who might not be aware of the European style of cooking, the Mediterranean diet. So in that aspect, you see European food being very popular when it comes to five-star hotels. You go through their buffets, you'll find the Kalamata olives, you'll find the Greek feta, you'll find brie from France, you'll find Gouda, you'll find all these cheeses, and you'll find all these liquor brands also from the region. And then what happens is when the consumer enjoys the taste of these products, he then translates it to his own kitchen. He tries to bring the same product to his own kitchen. He might not have the same ovens or the baking equipment, or for that matter, even the pans which are used in a five-star hotel. But the whole aspect of enjoying food at home with your kind of tweaks is very popular. When Ajay Chopra is the brand ambassador for the European Union, we are doing research for the European Union for the last 3 years now, trying to see what is the scope of the products which are available in India, how many of them are PDO and PGI, and how consumers understand that. We are educating them on the fact that how PDO and PGI signifies a certain region in Europe which is only able to produce that kind of high quality product with high quality packaging, which is now available in India to the consumers, both on the standalone retail stores, the organized retail stores, and the e-commerce platform. So I think there is a great trend towards that direction.
That's so I'm sure awakening for a lot of people who have dialed in to know that the awareness about GI products, PGI products is increasing in India. Market penetration is increasing subject to that, and that shift towards consumption, both obviously the consumer patterns are defining the trends for the hospitality industry is what we. In fact, one more thing which I have been observing is that we see so many events recently being curated by the Polish embassy in the space of fresh apples, which was earlier conquered by the Americans and the Chinese. Are you seeing shifts of these nature? What do you believe are the key categories from the European region or countries which are seeing these growth trends in India, and where businesses should be focusing on?
I think there are various things which are working in India. Apples as a market has grown. We are seeing apples from Greece, apples from Belgium, Italy, Poland for sure. And a lot of them take pride in their apples. If you talk to a Polish person, it's a matter of pride for him to have a Polish apple or to export Polish apples. Similarly, we see a lot of dairy products coming in from the region. We see a lot of meat products. We see a lot of pork, which is coming into the market. Pork belly is becoming a category which is growing in India. We don't have that quality of pork available in the market. And the quality of pork and the price and the value proposition which pork offers from Belgium or Spain or Italy is phenomenal. So I think that as a category is growing. Obviously, we tried a lot in India to produce olive oil, but we still find that it is the European olive oil which is dominating the market, where Spain being the market leader in that category. In terms of berries, again, there is something which is trending because of the antioxidant value, because of the social media presence. People are consuming more and more berries. And then comes in all the other products like pasta. So if you're making a Neapolitan style pizza, then you need farina, which is 00 flour. You need Pilates, which is coming from San Marzano, Italy. You need olive oil, which is from the region. You need olives from that region, or capers. So I think when you are cooking these kind of products, a lot of these products are not staple to India, or they're unique to us. So the only option we have is when we go and buy these products, and the prices have substantially reduced because the number and the volumes have gone up. Today, you can buy a bottle of olive in India for about 2 euros, which was earlier about 5 years ago or 10 years ago, you were paying like 6 or 7 euros for that. So I think the pricing has gone down, which makes it more affordable for consumers, and it captures a larger market size than just the 20 million niche of the market. So I think the middle class and the upper middle class are getting involved in consuming this. And this is still the tip of the iceberg. Even 100 million people is tip of the iceberg. There are products which come in from other countries. Like if you look at US almonds, there are about 500 million consumers who consume US almonds, and India imports about almost $1.1 billion worth of almonds from US. So I think the value proposition keeps on increasing, consumers keep on evolving, and trends keep on playing on their minds, and that helps you grow the market in the Indian subcontinent.
Indeed, yes. Like Spanish almonds are making way into India, and Indian processing industry is seeking blanched almonds from Spain. So certain things which were unheard of or were earlier associated with very specific geographies, like US almond was a very, very strong association. But those evolutions and trends are coming in. I'm getting questions on sidelines for our participants as well, and they are really keen to understand that we know what products from European Union have potential market in India. They know that they need to be more committed towards the India market. They need to have a more long-term strategy. They seek answers for questions like that. How does a typical supply chain for imported food product looks like in India? I believe that the first step is that any business should know firstly the HS code of their product and whether they have market access in India or not. But as a business yourself, what do you think they should keep in mind, and what route should they follow?
Okay, first of all, 99% of the products coming out of Europe, if they're not in the dairy or meat category, they are permitted in India. It's only there are certain categories where dairy and meat, you need phytosanitary protocols to be signed between the two countries. And that also, most countries have already signed those protocols with India. So I don't see that as a challenge. Once you find the right partner, I think that is the key, finding the right partner. You have to understand, again, about 95% of Indian retail does not import. So that is something that every European country or company needs to understand, that Indian retailers don't import. We are not like Lidl or Carrefour or Tesco, which will import the product. They always look for a conduit, which is an importer, which are some of our members. They will import the product and then have the supply chain to the warehouse, which is because India is a vast country. We supply to almost more than 500 cities in India, and we need to have that distribution network and the depth of distribution, because the language is different, distances are different. Getting the product at the right temperature at the right time within the stipulated time is a big challenge. So you have to take care of all of that. Cold chain is becoming much better in India from the vis-a-vis years, and we see that the market for these kind of products, where cold chain and temperature control, I should say, from chocolates to cheese to meat, is growing at a much faster pace than you can imagine. So I think that thing is there. Finding the right partner is the key. If you find the right partner, he'll tell you the HS code, he'll tell you the labeling regulation, he'll tell you what is required in terms of other documents. All you need is 5 or 6 simple documents: your invoice, your packing list, your country of origin certificate. If your product is unique, which is not produced in India, there is a certificate of analysis which you can get from any lab, and a health certificate which says that the product is safe for human consumption. If you have these 5 documents, I think there is no reason for anybody to not capture or establish their contact in the Indian market.
So that brings us to the next point, which is like literally addressing the elephant in the room. A lot of people have a very strong perception about India as India being a hard or impossible nut to crack. With the regulatory compliances and other legal requirements. Obviously, if you read regulations of any country from a distance, if I, for example, opened the regulatory compliance book of Italy or France, I will be lost myself. But you guys witness those examples on day-to-day basis. What is your take on this? Do you really think India is an impossible market to crack, or what strategy should a business be adhering by if they actually want to enter into Indian market in a fully compliant manner?
So when I started this business 25 years ago, I was one of the 500 people or 400 people importing in the country. There are today about 20,000. If India is such a hard nut to crack, there would not be these 20,000 people who are wanting to import or export to India. So the market is growing. There is no two ways about it. I don't see India as a challenge. As I said, finding the right partner might be a challenge because it's such a vast country and everyone would try to project himself or herself to be the legitimate partner for you. If you break that first barrier, then it's a free fall, or then it is a free smooth ride for you where you are able to get all the information, because we have already learned all of that with every shipment of ours coming in from different regions. So there is no issue, no concern. We have everything in place, from warehousing to logistics to clearing and forwarding agents to retail chains to hotels to Horeca to supply chain. Everything is aligned. So all you need is the right partner. Once you have that, then it is a smooth ride. Yes, working in India, marketing in India, social media presence, finding the right strategy for your product, choosing the right target audience, those are important factors. Work on that rather than having this thought process that India is a tough nut to crack or it's a challenging market. It is not if you have the right partner.
Thank you so much. I'm sure that this is quite ensuring for many who are listening to this. When we Amitji talk about the current consumer trends, we are saying, I'll be coming to that after this question. We are seeing a lot of free range products, vegan, organic, gaining popularity amongst Indian consumer. Even the food regulators are coming with more clear directives in terms of bringing products. For example, there is a clear vegan logo which Government of India now defines, or the similar standards for organic, for goods to be imported into India are now being defined. European countries have great or keen interest in exporting organic goods from their particular countries into India, but that appears to be a challenging route. So for current situation, is it advisable that if a business is dealing into organic food products that they hold on till the time things are clearer? Or is there a way with which they can work around and bring that category for the Indian consumers?
So we work with various brands, and our members work with various brands where they bring organic product as conventional product. As long as you are not calling it organic, the product can be brought into the country because there is no requirement of documentation or the hand-holding which is required when you are handling these kind of products, and that continues even when you bring the product in the country. So that is there. In India, organic food is growing. People are getting more and more aware about organic food. The use of pesticides is a big challenge in India. So we are trying to understand that. But I think the Indian consumer is always looking for value. So that value proposition is very important. If your organic food is about 20 to 30% more expensive than your conventional food, then the Indian consumer is more than happy to pay for it. But the moment it goes beyond 40, 45, 50, or sometimes 100%, then he's contemplating whether he's able to buy the product, whether it fits. Anyway, the product goes into 4x. So if you sell a product in India for €1, by the time it reaches the shelves to the consumer, it's about €4 for your conventional product. Cold chain products are 5 to 6 euros. Alcobev are anywhere between 10 to 15x. So you have to understand that as well. And in spite of that, you find all kinds of products in the market available at, I would not say reasonable prices, but the Indian consumer has had those prices around them, and the acceptability for those prices is there. So if you're wanting to buy a block of PDO feta, I think you'll be paying like maybe about €5 for the same. And I think in Europe also, if you're buying the same product, you're paying almost like €2.5, €3. Indian consumer is anyway paying double of what the European consumer is paying, because it is not produced in a country. And average tariffs in India are about 30 to 45%. And alcoholic tariffs are about 150%. Though we see European Union is already negotiating a free trade agreement, and US was able to kind of get their tariffs down to 50%. I think European Union should also be able to do that in the near future.
That makes a lot of sense. And if we talk about consumer trends per se, means we have seen the Gala Ambani wedding, which has taken social media by storm. The entire world was talking about it. That says so much about the Indian consumers and consumption trends and evolution that has happened in past 2 decades. For that matter, if we visit the retail stores, and within 1 year we are seeing the more and more exclusive brands entering into Indian market. If we talk only about the food scenario brands like Latour, Paul, they all are right now present in India. So when we ask specifically for the consumer trends and how consumers are reacting specifically to international goods, their purchasing power, what are the shifts, positive or negative, you guys are noticing by virtue of being a direct business?
I think what we see is, when international brands come into India. So when Ladure entered, their first store had a waiting of about almost 4 hours every day. So people were standing in queues for 4 hours just to get a macaroon, which they were paying €2.5. The pricing of Ladure macaroon in India is the same as what you would pay in Europe or in London. So still people were doing that. Tim Hortons, it's a Canadian brand, but because of the relationship India and Canada has, we were able to again have these long lines and queues waiting for people to have that coffee. So I think when it comes to trends, when it comes to brands, Indians love getting to these brands. They love the fact that they are available now in their neighborhood stores or their neighborhood malls. They would go over there, enjoy the product. When you look at Paul's, people love the fact that you are able to order an Eggs Benedict over there. So I think trends are very versatile. Indian consumers have a lot of aspiration, and then they put a lot of money behind their aspiration to enjoy the same product because they're traveling a lot. Indians are today traveling the world, and they're trying to learn and see what is working in India. And a Ambani wedding is just one example. There are hundreds of weddings which happen on the same lines, but they do not get the same limelight because they don't call in, Usher, or they don't call in Beyonce to dance over there. But there are so many people who are doing these kinds of weddings in smaller towns, because for us, the only thing that you kind of spend a lot of money is your wedding. So our weddings range from $10,000 to $100 million, which we spend just for a small wedding. And even the lower strata of the society holds on to money for their wedding. So that is a very important aspect in life. That is your rebirth. And that's why they kind of save money for that since the time anyone is born. So that's how it works.
Yeah, I mean, big fat Indian weddings. We use the term for a reason. My next question is for audience, coming with a disclaimer that it is for audience above legal drinking age, as applicable in their regions. What are the trends around alcohol sector in India? Ready to drink cocktails, cocktail mixes. We know of clubs and pubs in India where the cover charges at times are reaching hundreds and thousands of euros just to get a table over the weekend. How is Indian market reacting to that particular subset of food and beverage dynamics?
Next time someone asks you for hundreds and thousands of dollars for a club, give me a call. I'll get you entry for free. So don't worry about that bit. Don't need to spend that kind of money. But yes, the clubbing culture is growing. We are seeing trends. India was predominantly a whiskey drinking nation. But in the last 10 years, all of a sudden, the wines, the beers, the white spirits have become very popular. It started from vodka, and then it moved to gin, and today it's tequila. So, things are moving. I see one of the questions, alcohol-based trends in India. The cocktails are phenomenal. Ready to drink cocktails are a good match. The only problem with ready to drink cocktails is the price point. If you have the right price point, then they become a big churner. But if you have the price point which becomes obnoxious, then a person wants to go and to a pub or a bar and enjoy it sitting on the bar, talking to the bartender with a group of friends. They don't drink at home ready to drinks unless they're doing a party or they're having a get together. So the trends are there. We're seeing a lot of these products coming in from European nations, which are with different mocktails from Thai Mai to Caprianis, to a lot of these products which are being produced, and they are available in India. But the price point is a killer factor, because if it's too expensive or too exorbitant, then consumers are not willing to buy that. But if it's reasonably priced with 2 to 3 or 4 euros, then they're happy to pay that price for a ready to drink cocktail.
We are seeing a number of Indian single malts, for that matter, winning numerous global awards. So that bilateral corridor is activated like never before, and we hope that these defining terms of globalization continue to impress upon the sector, because it helps us to have a cross-sectoral growth. Last year at Anuga Select Show, we saw the Chilean Minister of Agriculture and Chilean Minister of Finance walking the show, conducting Chile was a country partner. They conducted a session at the show, which you along with Anuga Select team conducted. Does your member base see value in interactions of this nature, where a country comes in, addresses them, educates them about what their particular country has to offer? And do you see that such kind of initiative should be taken more seriously and more aggressively going forward?
I think India as a nation, we are very hospitable. And when we have guests coming in over, which are ministers or delegates or business people, and they come to India on a regular basis, we are a very relationship-based economy. We work a lot with people who we interact on a day-to-day basis. I was recently at Gulf Food and I met so many people over there. It's not that we were doing business with them, but the fact that that's become like a religion for us to visit Gulf Food every year, and then we interact with them, we meet them at embassy events or receptions in the evening. I think India is a relationship market. These trips, these visits by these delegates, it's very important. We have the Chilean president coming in the month of April. We have the New Zealand Prime Minister coming in the month of March. So we have all of that happening in India, because India is becoming such a big market for a lot of global products. And that is where these visits make or strengthen that bond or solidify the relationship which is there between India and these other countries who are sending their ministers and high-level delegations.
Last two quick questions. One is, top non-food sector is still agriculture origin goods, which you see hold great potential in Indian market.
Come again? Sorry, I didn't get your question right. Sorry.
Top non-food sector is still goods originating from agriculture sector, which you see are gaining more opportunities or more popularity in Indian context.
Non-food sector still
is still originating from agriculture.
Like, give me an example.
Pet food, nutraceuticals, ethanol.
The challenge with that is, obviously these are restricted commodities. You have to have permissions. You have to apply for sanitary import permits. Anything when you bring in those categories, there are more restrictions than the regular food safety and other departments which are there. And I think that is growing. See, pet food, I have a pet myself, and I believe that pets are like kids. You can make any amount of money because people are willing to fetch out any amount of money when they are buying something for their pets. It is more about the label, the cleanliness. The product has to come from a European origin. It makes a huge difference and impact on Indian consumers' psyche when he's buying a European product. So the market is definitely growing for that, along with other categories. But it is the marketing strategy which is important. A lot of times we find products coming into the market. When you talk of, let's presume, ethanol, nobody knows where the ethanol is coming from. We are not buying and selling ethanol where we would know. Pet food, yes. Recently, one of our friends launched pet food from Canada, and it's becoming a rage in India because people want to have a pet food which is having protein from 3 or 5 kinds of sources, which was earlier not available in India because the mass-produced product does not have that. So I think the consumers are becoming more aware. They're reading about the label, and any marketing which lets them understand your product better, they're willing to pay that price. So I think it is an important aspect.
And any business, Indian business ethics, which are very unique to us. Like, for example, we confirm deals over WhatsApp messages. Anything which you believe that people should take away as a final note from your side, because we hope that they soon will be visiting Mumbai to attend or participate at Anuga Select Show. So what they should have on mind while they're interacting with businesses or having a conversations with them.
I think it is important. The first thing is you should have your pricing right set for India. The biggest challenge is when we go to these meetings and when we speak to importers is we go for a meeting, and when we ask the seller or the exporter about the price of the product, he's going to tell me, let me get back to you with an email. That's the worst thing you can do, because the product is in front of me. I have to calculate in my mind what is the MRP of that product. Will my consumer buy that product? What are the competing brands with that? When you send me an email after a week or 2 weeks, that whole transaction gets lost. WhatsApp, obviously WhatsApp or any other mode of communication is very important, because Indians we are more prompt on WhatsApp than when we are on emails. And also make sure that when you get the products in the country, you understand the dynamics of the product. You understand where the other brands are selling. Go to a bigbasket.in, go to a Swiggy or a Zomato. These are online portals which you will be able to see a lot of the products which are competing or complementing the category that you want to sell to India. And you understand the pricing of those products. If the product is being sold at 500 rupees in India, just divide it by 4, that comes to 125 rupees, which is about a euro 20 or a euro 30 cents. And see, are you able to export the product at that price point? Indians are very brand conscious. So if you are able to bring a brand which becomes to be a brand in India, then when you compete with that brand by saying I have a better product, it doesn't matter, because people are then buying a brand and not the product. So they might not understand the quality of what a Perrier or a San Pellegrino water is, but because they've seen the product in various flight kitchens, they've seen in business class, they've seen at various restaurants and cafe, they believe it's a great brand because it's being sold in that region. So I think that is where the brand awareness and brand consciousness comes into play.
Thank you so very much, Amitji, for all our audiences. This is literally goldmine information. It's very, very fortunate for us to be able to learn it directly from Mr. Lohani, as he's a business himself and also leads the association, which is the largest association for food importers. And I'm sure Anuga team is proud to be partners with you guys for their upcoming edition. So our key takeaways is that we are here to help you do your homework. This was just a first step in that direction, because you need to know that if your products actually have market access in India, you can write down to us, and we'll be happy to handhold you through the process of letting you know that whether your product can make it to India market or not. If not, in that case, we advise you to be in touch with your respective country government to help you develop a market access protocol for your particular product category. Like Mr. Lohani said, that most of the products from European Union do not face compliance issues or market access issues with India. So in that case, it is very important for you to visit India. That should be your step next. And especially for a show like Anuga Select, which is strategically positioned in city like Mumbai, which is the financial capital of country, please give yourself a few extra days so that you can come down, visit the retail stores, both organized, unorganized, go eat at local restaurants, go to the touristic site to see that how Indian consumption trends are evolving and how can you take advantage from that. If you want the team to conduct a feasibility study, if you want to understand that how your competition market is looking like, or you want to prepare a contingency plan, we are happy to handhold you or help you sail through that. For you to be able to participate at the show, my contact information of Ms. Vaishali from Colin Messe team is given here. You can write down to her directly, and they will be more than happy to get back to you with all the detailed information that how can you participate at the show and what added advantage you can take from their presence. Associations like FIFI and a number of chefs are present at the show for you to benefit from. With that, I will pass it back to Samir, to help us run through the questions which we may have received from the audiences in the meantime. And also this image, guys, this just showcases the happy vibe at the show, is what I always say. Number of white coats reflecting the chefs and the entire team just curating certain recipes at the show and helping all of us come together in the food scene of country. Back to you, Samir.
Yeah, thanks, Shubhi, and thanks, Amitji. This was really an enlightening session. I'm sure our audience would have really understood the market dynamics in a much better way. I mean, hearing from the horse's mouth, it is really amazing to know how dynamic Indian market is, and the kind of appetite that Indian consumers are having with reference to the international products. Yes, we do have couple of questions. Shubhi, the question to you is, there are a lot of reports of EU-India FTA negotiations, but they seems to have stalled. So can we expect any progress on this front in the near future?
So yes, Samir, because India underwent elections, the federal government of India was re-elected. So they have kind of reinvented the entire process, and we are seeing that in media that the conversations will soon reinstate. Amitji might be a better person because he gets to be sitting in a number of rooms of that nature where such discussions are made. So Amitji, any insider scoop you're listening which you believe can be of advantage for us to know?
I'm so sorry, I got disconnected in the last bit and I think battery went off.
So just trying to understand that EU-India FTA negotiations, they were running full swing, and then there was a pause in between. So I was just telling everyone that was probably because that India went for federal election and there was a shift in the negotiation. So is there anything more you're listening to this entire thing about the EU negotiations and how it is evolving?
Not at the moment. The EU negotiations are on the back burner because currently India is more focused on having a trade agreement with the US, because that is their focus, and because EU represents so many member states, it's also difficult in terms of India is having their regional FTA agreements or enhancement of the preferential trade agreements. I think it'll take some time for the EU to come in the back in the block. Similarly goes for UK and Canada. So I think these countries are still trying to negotiate a better deal, and India is always very it's hard to bargain with India because India believes that they have much more potential of exports and they have a trade surplus with many of these countries. I think that is a challenging bit, but yeah, it will take some time. But I don't think so. Yes, obviously it helps you to grow your market, but it's always good to first be in the market, and then these trade agreements help you to grow it further and faster because you're already there in the market.
Great. Amitji, one more question to address to you is geographical indication products are gaining tractions globally. What's the future outlook of GI products in India, and are they becoming increasingly popular?
Actually, they are becoming popular, but the only challenge is that you have to have a marketing campaign with it. Every consumer is not that aware of the GI indicator. India itself has many products which have GI indicators, but consumers don't consume it because they have a GI indicator. They consume it because they like it. Similarly, if you give that story to a product, it is important to replicate that story and make the consumers believe that this product is enhanced because of its GI indicator and is coming from a particular region or a particular geography or a particular soil condition. So that is what is important. So telling a story is more important than just having a GI indicator.
Right. One of our delegations is interested to know, which is the best way to check if there is an importer interest on our products. They are into production of sauerkraut pickles, antipasti, olives, capers, pestos, and pasta sauces.
Every importer who's working with Europe is interested in the products that you just mentioned because these products are a staple for everybody. They're part of every cheese grazing table which is happening. They're part of every menu, every buffet which is there. So I don't think so that there is any challenge with these products. They are very popular in India, and the only thing is if you want to sell it in bulk, is it an 8-10 can or you are selling in retail? So it depends on what consumer you are targeting and what is the price point for that consumer.
Great. And one last question, where the attendees are interested to know is how can participating in trade shows like Anuga Select add value to overall India market strategy, and what opportunities are available to us if we participate in such an event. Honestly speaking, Anuga has been the oldest platform in India today, and we, with our experts, with our support, with the partners like Fifi and Shubi and all, we definitely not only provide a platform to showcase your products, but also make you understand in terms of the market entry strategies. We can help you to kind of reach out to the right kind of audience with our connects with the Horeca segment, in terms of the retailers, the distributors, and we can also help you in terms of entering into the market. When if you have any specific requirements, if you have any specific queries, you can please share with us. Even before you come and attend the event, we can help you to kind of understand the dynamics of the markets with our pool of experts with us, and make your journey easy to kind of enter into the Indian markets. Shubi, Amitji, would you like to
add? I agree absolutely. See, they have been one of the longest international shows which is happening in India. One of the largest as well. If you look at the food segment, I think they are one of the largest when it comes to the international shows, because we as an organization work with other international exhibitors who are doing their shows in India. But something unique about Anuga is, first of all, the region that they are doing the show is one of the most advanced, most liberal. It's a port city of Mumbai, where trends come in first. It's always the port cities which get the trends first. Second is, we as association bring about more than 100 importers, distributors as hosted buyers to the show, which makes sure that these people will come and meet you on a one-to-one basis. You'll have B2B meetings. Anuga does they also do retail promotions. They do retail visits, which helps you understand the market. There is a culinary theater which helps you understand the veracity of consumers and how chefs can incorporate your products in the recipes which they are trying to curate. It might be adding a little bit of things here or there, but the fact that these products are available to the consumers, to the retailers, to the distributors, and then directly to the Horeca community, I think it's a great testament. And the way our pavilion is also growing at Anuga, that in itself is because Indian businesses are very smart. They will not invest in a show if they are not making money. So our ROI definition is very important. So for us, if we are exhibiting at Anuga at a larger scale than what we did last year or a year before, that truly means that our members are absolutely relishing the fact that they're getting more business out of Anuga, and that is where the show is becoming more and more successful.
Yeah. Thank you, Amitji. Thank you, Shubi. It was a wonderful session, and I'm sure our attendees would have loved attending the session. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you so much.